Here to explain, former Chief of Staff, former North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows, along with Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. You know, you said something, Mr. Speaker, when Rush Limbaugh passed away, and you had said it before, but I heard it loudly and clearly. And I happened to be your MC that night in Georgia, the night you became Speaker. I was honored to be there, a night I'll never forget. You said you don't think Republicans could have won in '94 without Rush. And I'm asking this question for a reason.
Oh, I think that's right. I think he created a national audience, could communicate every single day for free, and he educated probably 30 or 40% of the country into what was going on. I think to imagine that period without him, it makes it vastly harder for us to have gotten our messages across.
And I think this is important. And Mark Meadows, I would say for years, we've got to become the media. Okay, conservatives have talk radio. They have an outlet where people can find different points of view. A few of us here on the Fox News channel, certainly not anybody by any stretch. We are conservative. I'm outspoken. I'm a member of the press. I also give opinion. I'm a talk show host. My question is it now time that conservatives, people on the right, stop whining and start creating their alternative to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all these other, big tech giants?
Well, it is time. The problem is the federal government has made it very difficult to compete. They've created this de facto monopoly. My comments yesterday about making sure that we break up big tech is hard for me philosophically, but what we've essentially allowed these platforms to become is they're no longer platforms, they're political operations. And when you see that, we've got to make sure that we not only hold them accountable, but that we allow the free market to compete. And it's much easier to compete with a Twitter and recreate something that would compete head-to-head with Twitter. Facebook, much more difficult. And yet what we see is them silencing one of our White House communications professionals that went to work with Elise Stefanik, and they said it's a mistake. Why are all the mistakes on the Republican side of the aisle is what I want to know.
All right, Mr. Speaker, do we break up monopolies, or is it a combination of breaking up monopolies? You know, you were a big Future Shock fan years ago. I've learned a lot of lessons from you over the years. Or is it time to say, well, okay, while we're pursuing that option, let's create the platforms ourselves, and then the American people will choose where they want to go?
Look, I think there are two different questions. First of all, these are monopolies of enormous power, and you cannot, never in American history, have we allowed economic power and political power to belong to the same people. And every time that's tried to happen, we've had a populist rebellion, changed the laws and broken them up. So I would say the easiest solution is to make them public carriers who are liable to lawsuit. So, for example, President Trump could sue them for the total economic cost of what they've done to him over the last 6 months. Or the New York Post could sue for the damages done during the period just before the election when they banned the Post. You would suddenly find them behaving like economic entities and not like the playthings of oligarchs. And that would bring you a balance. Second, I absolutely believe that conservatives should create as many alternative messaging systems. And that really gets you involved with Google and with the Apple cloud operation more than with Facebook or with Twitter. You cannot afford to have Google decide to take people off, or to have Apple decide, as they did with one competitor, that they just close them down. This is a kind of use of power which really destroys any kind of free enterprise system, because it eliminates the free enterprise and turns it into the playground of billionaires who then use their power in ways that are impossible in a free society for us to put up with.
And
Hey,
Mark,
Sean, I think what
yeah.
you're going to see what you're going to start to see are actions by attorney generals in these states. You're going to see actions by governors, which Governor DeSantis has already started to take some initiatives. Listen, the American people are not going to take this lying down. I can tell you, I talked to House members and senators yesterday in light of the Facebook decision. There's real action taking place. But we also, as the speaker is talking about, we need to make sure that we have those alternative platforms, encourage conservatives to go there. You know, the president had over 200 million people following him on the various platforms. It's an economic engine that's sitting there waiting to be tapped.
All right. Mark Meadows, Newt Gingrich, thank you both for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.